Oh, I'm getting ready, folks. Getting ready, getting ready, getting ready. I'm gonna drop down this background audio a bit. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Moving a little slower today than I normally would. What is up, everyone? True Patriot, also known as CC2 Arms. Back again. Another live stream, another day. I could say same shit, different day, but I'm trying not to be pessimistic. I don't think that's going to be helpful to my physical condition today. I think I need to try to maintain a positive mental attitude. A rough day, leg all tore up. Anyway, hadn't got a special planned. I'm just gonna play it by ear. I'm gonna probably run this live stream for an hour. I might let it run longer. I might put on a documentary, let it play in the background once I hit closer to the 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope everyone is in positive spirits. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope we've had some pretty atrocious weather here today. Yeah, nothing real catastrophic. I mean, we did get a lot of rain. Probably going to be getting a lot more rain. It's not going to overly affect things. Actually, a little bit might not be bad at all. I do have quite a bit of turnips. Let's see, what all have I gotten planted so far? I've got one of the beds. I've been working on getting all of the beds converted over to cool weather crops. I did get one of them seeded with lettuce, several varieties of lettuce. I got another one seeded with several varieties of turnips. I've got another a planter, several varieties of radishes. Still got a few others. Just a myriad of work that needs to be done around here. I need to get the indoor gardens. I need to get those squared away. I've got a lot of work to do there. Need to try to make sure everything's all secure and set up for winter. But anyway, it's all labor of love, like everything else, folks. All a labor of love. My one mysterious viewer in chat. It's been so weird. Google, you never know from one day to the next. I mean, how can I have one person watching but 2 thumbs up? It's always weird. I shouldn't even think about it. It just hurts my head to even try to contemplate the going-ons of some of this stuff. Try this a little bit different. Yes. I know I'm playing internet games while I'm running a live stream. That's okay. Just tying up loose ends. Tying up loose ends, folks. Where's my Google Hangouts at? See if I can, who Who can I manipulate into coming on the live stream this evening? Where you at? Jinx, Perth Observer, Dale, somebody? Surely you all ain't gonna just let me go at this alone, huh? It'll be all right. It'll be okay. Very interesting day, though. Very, very interesting day. I've had MRSA before. It almost killed me the last time. Hopefully it's not going to get that bad this time. More painful than anything. And, you know, I don't really much care for the so-called healthcare professions. Generally, more times than not, them people are quacks. I mean, think about it. How do they get paid? They get paid when you're sick. Well, what happens if you're healthy and you have no need for healthcare? Where do they make money then? If everybody's healthy, they have no, there's no repeat business. There's no customers. Imagine if the entire world were all vegetarians. How profitable would it be to have a hamburger joint? But anyway, against better judgment, I went to so-called University of Tennessee Medical Center. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. It was a short time. I wasn't waiting long. They got me in there fairly quickly. The doctor himself, he was actually a pretty decent guy. I would have ventured to guess probably my age, maybe a couple years younger than I. Cut it open, cut the leg open, drained what they could, cleaned it, packed it, ordered an ultrasound, wanted to check and see if I had or do have any blood clots. Those came out negative, no blood clots, so that's a good thing. They didn't ever once address pain. That was an issue, but hey, you know, so be it. I'm all right with that. But then my leg's sitting there, they get it all packed, and the doctor tells the nurse at that time that she needs to go ahead and get this bandaged. That they could get some paperwork for me. And I lay there. I went on Instagram, folks. Check out the Instagram video. I laid there in that condition for like 2 hours. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but you figure you've got a guy that already has an abscess, that has already had complications as the result of the very bacterial infection that he's got now. And you've got this open wound, and you've got this open air in a hospital environment. And, you know, the tools they use may be clean, but that air, yeah. I am sick, dirty, nasty, cut up, injured folks running around. And here I sit. Sat there for, I don't know, I guess probably 2 hours. Meanwhile, another nurse, completely separate nurse, comes in there. I guess the doctor had realized that I hadn't been bandaged or anything. So that other nurse comes in there. And I told her, I said, look here, I'm not mad. I've been forgotten about many times in this life. No hard feelings, but, you know, I would like to get this thing dressed. Get me the fuck up out of here. I'm ready to go home and hit the couch. I mean, my leg is just, gosh, it hurts. Perth, thank you for being here, friend. I'm talking about my day at UT Medical Center. The University of Tennessee Medical Center, supposed to be a teaching hospital. And if the type of service that I received is any indicator of how we are teaching tomorrow's generation of so-called healthcare professionals, oh, it's probably scary. So anyway, the nurse, after I lay there with my leg wide open, you figure, because they took, and what they did, the way they expressed it was they first did a topical anesthetic, which would slightly numb the skin. Then they took a syringe with full of lidocaine and injected it directly into the abscess. Then the doctor, now the doctor, of all the people I dealt with, the doctor he was a straight up dude. I mean, he was younger than me, which was kind of had me skeptical of his bedside manner, professionalism, ethic, morals, but he was a good guy. He genuinely, I felt as though he genuinely cared for me, and that was a good thing. But anyway, so he takes a scalpel and he cuts, makes a vertical incision from the top of the cut to the bottom. And then they had to do a culture because I had to have lab work. I have had type 2 MRSA before. Anyway, they did the culture. And then he basically takes the hemostats. They used, I'm not familiar with the type of packing material used. Think of it like it comes in a sterile jar. It's, if I'm not mistaken, it's a thin, very long strip of gauze that's basically in suspended animation in a jar of saline. I'm probably describing that wrong, keeping in mind I do not profess to be a doctor or otherwise medical professional. Well, then they packed it all up. And he ordered, at that time, he ordered the ultrasounds and he ordered the nurse to bandage it up. He, meanwhile, goes to write my discharge paperwork and get me some prescriptions and the follow-up orders because they want to see me again in 48 hours or what have you. Huh. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here with this bloody gauze. I have to sit here for 2 hours. About an hour and a half later, the what do you call her? She's a vascular doctor that does the ultrasound to check for the blood clots. She has me stand up, or yeah, she had me stand up because I'd take my pants off, my shorts off. That was scary. Taking my pants off in front of a woman. Yeah, I was pretty nervous at that point. Anyway, I got through that okay. And she finishes up. I get back on the bed. But in the process of taking my drawers down, my gauze falls off. My cut is just laying here, exposed to the air. They still hadn't offered me nothing for pain. Not that I'm drug seeking. Not that I was bitching. But fuck, man, it hurt. Excuse the language. I'm in some serious pain. Hurt. Here. So I'm laying there and and here, oh, it gets worse. I have my mother and my mother is beside me. So here I am, half naked, this big, nasty, what looks to be an eyeball on the top of my leg. Oh, she says it looks like a nipple. I don't know. There's a video on Instagram. I think I put it on Facebook as well. I'm laying here and I'm thinking, what the fuck? Is this sanitary? I mean, because obviously, if a person is at a high risk for complication from infection due to a compromised immune system, logically speaking, wouldn't we try to maintain somewhat as close to, not necessarily sterile, but as clean of an environment as we could?
You'd kind of think so, but yeah.
Well, that's what I thought. And then the chick finally, they come in 2 hours plus later to bandage it. And on the end of her finger, I notice one of the little bitty, like a knuckle Band-Aid. It's got like fingers, like you would put, they're very small Band-Aid. Like imagine if you had an abrasion on the top of a knuckle. And them two little fingers are to wrap around the finger so that it still affords you mobility of the finger. She goes to put this little bitty inch in diameter Band-Aid on this big knot packed full of gauze that's 3 inches in diameter. Obviously, the Band-Aid is 3 times too small. It doesn't cover even half of it. She looks up at me and she says, well, this just isn't going to work very well because your legs are so hairy. Okay, and common fucking sense, you got too small of a Band-Aid. I guess you better go get you a bigger Band-Aid. I didn't say any of this, but these are the thoughts going through my mind. And in my ignorance, I assumed when she left the room, they were going to get something to better or more efficiently cover the wound. No, that is not what was going to happen. It wasn't even 40 seconds later, and she brings me this stack of papers, and she's like, well, you know, you can't be sharing your prescriptions with people. And I'm thinking, oh, God, now we're on to something good. Maybe they're going to give me something for pain. Maybe they are even going to give me something that will actually help with the pain. I better just keep my mouth shut and play the whole yes, ma'am, no, ma'am routine. So she goes on her spiel for 10 minutes about sharing controlled substances and how opioids are wrong. And if I take one of these pills, I can't drive. I can't operate machines. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, yeah, just get me the fuck out of here because you motherfuckers ain't did nothing for pain. I want to go home and eat me a pain pill. It hurts. Let me get to the couch and eat me a pain pill. Yeah, wasn't to be, though. They did give me a very strong antibiotic, and they gave me a substance referred to as Ultram. I've had them before. I would have much rather have had the 800 milligram ibuprofens. But by this time, I had already spent 5 hours at the, they're close to 5 hours at the emergency room department. No, I was ready to go. Plus, I already knew now I've got to walk through the hospital. I've just had a surgical procedure on my leg, and my leg is only half covered. Yeah. I guess I've went through worse experiences.
Mate, at the end of the day, and I'm laughing because it's taken me back to what I talked about on my live streams when my dad was in hospital, and they pretty much turned around and said to me out of the blue, they tried to hide it at first, but then they turned around and they said that he had caught staph. Yes. So I ended up going in there, refused to leave. When they said that visiting hours were over, I said, yeah, nobody here is leaving. So they brought me a chair because they could see that I was not going to fucking leave, and I didn't have to leave. So I sat there and I watched this nurse come into the room, 6 beds, 6 patients, my dad being one of them. She goes to the first patient and she's fiddling around with the drip that's in his arm. No friggin' gloves on, okay? Goes from him, doesn't get gloves, doesn't go wash her hands, goes from him to the next bed, fiddles around with his drip, and she did this to all 6 patients without washing her hands in between, without getting gloves. Yeah. So my question at the end of the day to her was, why are there boxes of gloves in the rooms?
Well, it's the standard that they have them there. Did she answer that question or?
Oh, fuck no. No, that was too hard a question for her.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why these diseases spread amongst people, why hospitals are known now, but don't fucking stay in hospital, even if you have heart surgery. Yeah. And my next door neighbour had heart surgery, and he was told by the nurse that looked after him in intensive care, get on your feet as quick as you can and get out before you catch something else.
Yeah. And my original, a lot of people will consider me weird, eccentric, antisocial. It's not that I intend to be against humanity. It's not that I intend on rejecting normality. I don't set out each day and say, well, you know how everybody, what people typically do? Well, I am going to try to do the opposite. That's not what happens. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with, and I'm not going to go along because whenever you go along, that makes you complacent. And if I see things are fucked up and I keep my mouth shut and I go along with the program, then that makes me just as responsible for it being fucked up. So I'm not going to do that. So I don't really, I can do bad by myself. I'm not going to go out here when I have an issue. If I'm going to incur more detriment than benefit, to me, it doesn't make sense. So I go to the hospital today, and like the taxpayers, I'm disabled. So the taxpayers are going to be on the bill for several thousands of dollars. And I received care that an idiot with no medical training, with no degrees, with no formal education at all could have provided. And to me, it's just fucked up. That means that now, not only am I furthering the detriment to myself, but I'm also forcing humanity to suffer unnecessary detriment as a result of my decision to go out here to a doctor. And what happens is that's exactly why over the 40 plus whatever years that I've been alive, that is what's happened. That's created a scenario in which I just don't like to go anywhere. So when people think, "Oh, god damn, dude, you're fucking weird," well, you wonder why. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I wasn't happy with the overall experience. Again, let me stress that the doctor himself was a straight up good guy. I really sincerely felt that, that he was a decent person. But aside, you take him out of the equation because he did his job. He did it. He had good bedside manner. He was straight to the fucking point. He knew exactly what needed done. I told him that I had the MRSA type 2. I had went septic a few years back. He already knew what was going on when he seen the wound. He was on the top of his game. But everybody else, the administration department, the so-called nurses, just in general, it was a piss poor experience. And, that's a teaching hospital. We're talking about not like your typical hospital. We're talking about a university hospital. That's where you teach tomorrow's doctors, tomorrow's nurses.
Hey, though, tell me something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody comes to you and they've got this big ass fucking, I don't know, whether it's an open wound or whatever, okay, whatever type of wound, and they come to you, would it not be just simply common sense for you to look at that and go, oh, fuck, I ain't touching that shit. I need to put some gloves on.
They don't do that.
I know, but I'm saying, why
well, that would be the logical, sense-based approach. Yes.
That kind of shit that kind of shit does not need to be taught. It's obvious. If you see something like that, it should be the first thought that comes into your head. I'm not touching this without fucking gloves. Yeah. I'm just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what baffles me is how these people that work in those places can fiddle around with, like I said, people's drips and infections and Lord knows what, and not give a fuck that they're going to catch it.
And when I did the little video, you'll notice I've got some bloody, nasty gauze pads on my leg, right? And when that nurse came in 2 hours plus later to finally put a baby Band-Aid on my dirty, bloody leg, she picked up them bloody gauze pads and she just kind of throws them at the garbage can. And one goes in the garbage can and the other one just falls on the floor and she just walks out the room. I mean, it's shocking. I mean, I'm an idiot, but I can care for someone who has a medical need better than these so-called professional persons. And I didn't even pay for this. Taxpayers that pay tax dollars are paying way over what the services are actually worth for services rendered.
But Heath, the thing is those same taxpayers, it's the people that have allowed these people to get away with that kind of shit.
What recourse do we have? You know, I mean, I wrote a thing all over social media today, and in each time I posted the small little rant that I did, I tagged the University of Tennessee Medical Center. And do you know, of course, no response, none. They won't even acknowledge it, period. And I guess acknowledging it would be some type of admission of guilt. So they probably have a legal department that would probably prevent them from acknowledging stuff like that on social media.
Exactly right, because they have no comeback for it.
No accountability at all.
Mate, when I finally got my dad home on his back, because obviously he had staph in his system, on his back, there was like skin that was coming off. It was about probably, I don't know, 4 by 4 inches, 5 by 5 inches, whatever. And I had a run-in with Silver Chain. I don't know if you guys have the same kind of thing over there. Silver Chain pretty much comes to the house and they'll change Band-Aids and stuff like that. You know, they'll do dressings and all that kind of shit. Well, I ended up with my dad, these two bitches, okay, showed up one morning and I had just pulled an all-nighter because, yeah, Dad was just all over the place. My sister and somebody else had shown up at the time. So we're sitting at the kitchen table and we're discussing the night's events and whatever. And I'm totally fucking fucked because I haven't slept. I haven't eaten. The closest I could get to anything was coffee and fucking cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
And where my dad was, he was in a totally separate room and he had an oxygen machine there. And I know that you can't smoke around those things. And we weren't smoking around those things. We were in a totally different fucking room. Okay. Well, these two bitches come in and they come to the table because I yelled out from the door, you know, come in. I couldn't even be bothered getting up because I was so fucking tired and over everything. They come in. They come into the kitchen first and she's going, oh, you know, we're here to change. Yeah, no dramas. You know, Dad's in the first room there. And they go there and they must have had this little discussion, which was very quick, about fucking smoking, okay, which really fucking annoys me when people touch my cigarettes. It stops me from killing people. I wish people would fucking learn that, okay? But anyway, they forget about my dad and the fact that his wound needs, you know, the dressing taken off and a new one put on and whatever. Okay, forget about that. They come back into the fucking kitchen. Oh, if you're going to continue to smoke, then we can't be in this environment. And I said, well, I'm not telling you to stand in the kitchen. You're here for my father. Nobody is smoking in his room, which is right near the front door, which is open. Okay. I said, so you're not here for me. Just go into the room and do the dressing. Oh, no, unless you all stop, because most of us smoke in my family. Unless you all stop smoking or whatever, we can't stay in this environment. And I said, well, you know where the door is.
Oh, yeah.
And they walked out and I looked at my sister and I said, oh, well, I guess it looks like we're going to have to go do this dressing. So, of course, even though, like I said, common sense, I ain't no fucking doctor, I ain't no nurse, I ain't no medical person, but I put fucking gloves on, mate.
Yeah.
I peeled this off and yes, my stomach turns because that's just, well, in some cases it doesn't. In some cases I like to stay fucking awake for my own surgeries that are performed on me, right? Yes. But you still have gloves on. You still get the fucking betadine. You fucking cover the wound with betadine. You disinfect it as much as you can. You dry it off. You put a clean fucking dressing on it. You remove your gloves. You go and you wash your fucking hands. This is, to me, it's common sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's common sense.
And the taxpayers are paying for the care that I received. And as a result, of the inadequate care, another person, luckily it was my mother, was forced to redo what they did not do correctly in the first place, in spite of the fact that they were being paid. And my question is, who's going to pay my mother? What's her salary? What's her cut of the insurance monies that the hospital's getting?
Mate, they don't care. They don't give a flying fuck.
Well, shouldn't she get a cut of it? I mean, she had to do their job, redo their job for them because they were derelict in their duty in the first place. Since they couldn't do it appropriately when they were being paid to do it, somebody else had to come behind them and clean up their mess. Shouldn't they get a cut of the profits?
Well,
I
it
mean,
shouldn't
if
be
we're
a
just going
cut.
to
It
throw
should
thousands of
everything.
dollars away for bullshit, then shouldn't everybody get a cut of it?
Listen, Heath, it goes even worse than that. Going back to my dad again, one of the, she wasn't a silver chain. She was from another, because pretty much cutting the story short, there was a whole heap of shit that fucking happened around surrounding my mother's illness with the family, whatever, yada, yada. So I was pretty much there on my own, okay, most of the time. And I didn't have time to grieve after my mum because I had to take care of my dad. And of course, he's grieving after her. So I got to stay strong for him, right? Anyways, so I pulled in as many community fucking services that I could, right? Because I could see family wasn't coming to my fucking aid. And this was a whole different group, kind of sort of similar to Silver Chain, but they were more of like an emergency type thing. For example, if you're taking care of somebody and you need a day break, you need 2 days break or whatever, they send a person in who takes care of the ill person, and you get that 1 day or 2 days break, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, they send this one woman in. Firstly, she is meant to be there, okay, because they sleep there overnight if they're there for more than a day. She's meant to get up at night time if the person is, I don't know, fucking in pain, whatever, right? This one particular woman, I show up the next morning. No, my father calls me, pissed off as all fuck, okay? This happened when my mum was towards the end, okay? He rings me, pissed off as all fuck, and I thought, oh, fuck, here we go. Like, so much for my fucking break. Jump in the car, 7 o'clock in the morning, or actually it was about 6 o'clock in the morning because it was still fucking freezing cold. I get down to the house, I walk in, I can see my dad sitting at the table. The whole fucking house has been opened up, okay? I can see he's shivering, he's sitting at the table shivering. And I walk into the kitchen and I said to him, I says, you know, Dad, what's going on? He starts saying to me, and I can see he's as, like I said, as angry as all fuck. And he's going to me in Slav, he says, this bitch opened up all the fucking doors. She's telling me in my house that I can't fucking smoke. Mum was up last night and she's walking around the house in her fucking undies. So I go from there to my mum's room and I said to my ma in Slav, I said, Ma, what's going on? She turns around and she says to me, now, my ma ain't a prude. She used to wear like bikini undies, okay?
Yeah.
So she knows the difference between cottontails and fucking nana undies and bikini undies and see-through fucking lace undies. She knows the difference, right? Even though she was 86. She turns around and says to me that she was in pain or whatever, and that this woman got up, and of course, because Dad heard her, Dad's up too, she gets up and she's walking through the house in what my mother described. She says, they are not undies that a woman of her age should be wearing, nor should she be walking through somebody else's home wearing those.
What was she?
So I knew. Pardon?
Was she mostly naked?
Yes. Anyway, I go back out to the kitchen. I can see she's gone outside. I get on the phone. I ring up the agency, and I let fucking rip. I let rip.
About
I
the
said, you.
naked gal running through your mom's house in the middle of the night?
about that, and also too about the fact of her telling my father what to do in his own fucking house. Because I said to them, I said, you guys know this is not the first time I've used your company. You know that my father smokes. You know that most of us that come here smoke. That's all he's got fucking left. Who are you to fucking send somebody in here to tell my father what to do in his own fucking home? Anyway, she pretty much took off in a span of minutes. The second time I used the same company, this particular woman that had come out, I mean, they're all supposedly kind of like nurses. They're up in that medical sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
The second one that come out was when my dad was on his own. He had the oxygen bottle. Now, my sister gets kind of panicked around things like that. So when they put the oxygen bottle on my father, they said, you know, you've got to watch it and it has to stay between this number and this number. If it goes any lower, that means he's lacking oxygen, whatever. If it goes, anyway, they explained it. So her being as paranoid as she is about that kind of stuff, she made a point of keeping an eye on those numbers, right? Anyway, this woman comes out and she's supposedly going to do some dressings and whatever. And she does all of that. And probably about 45 minutes to an hour after this woman leaves, my sister goes in to check the machine. She can see that it's been turned way down. Now, these numbers can't move on their own, okay? I mean, maybe that insy bitsy tiny little bit, okay, of fluctuation, but to move a lot, it wouldn't. You would literally have to physically turn the fucking knob, okay? Anyway, she gets on the phone, she calls me. So again, back in the car I go, back down there. She's showing me where she found this thing at and that she turned it back up to where it was supposed to be. And I said to her, I says, well, who was in the room? And she's going, this fucking nurse, right?
Yeah.
So back on the phone, I go again. I ring up the same company again. I'm going, what the fuck is going on? I said, you know, no doctor rang me to say that my father's machine needs to be turned down to such and such. There's nobody else in the home apart from my sister and your employee, right? Anyways, they didn't say too much over it. It wasn't until my father passed away that we got confirmation of what this bitch was trying to do. She ends up ringing me. This is after my father's funeral. I get this phone call one day and I'm going, hello, and I don't recognize the voice. And she's going, oh, I'm so-and-so and I work for such and such. And Donna, you know, I'm sorry. And if you need somebody to talk to, and I'm kind of like fucking stunned and I'm trying to get this into my head as to what the fuck is this bitch talking about, right? Because by the time my dad passed away, I couldn't even fucking mourn him because I took over my administration guardian of my brother who's in a disability home. So I am now confused as to who the fuck this woman is. Then it dawns on me, okay? And I says to her, I says, oh, hang on a minute. I said, did you come out when my dad was on the oxygen machine, whatever? And she goes, yeah. And she's going, I'm really sorry. I'm truly sorry. And I'm going, listen, bitch, get the fuck off the phone. Don't fucking call me ever again. Just get the fuck off the phone. Forget I exist. From there, she calls my sister because my sister rings me and says, you're never going to guess who just fucking called me.
Well, yeah, because I just got the phone with her.
She's just apologizing to her too. And my sister's going, what is she apologizing over? And I said, well, it's fucking obvious. The bitch is feeling guilty now that dad's passed away. The bitch is feeling guilty because she tried to fucking kill his ass.
That's just terrible. Terrible.
Mate, this is the fact that my parents, when both of them were sick, it woke me up to a fucking shitload
and you always
what
have
goes.
like all of these you know, if myself and my mother were sitting here today and we were I don't know. Maybe it rained real hard today, and maybe the rains busted through the roof. And we were literally sitting here in a flooded living room, starving to death. Nobody would care. Nobody would do anything, and that's acceptable. However, if one of us
just give me a minute, mate. Just give me a minute.
Okay. Yeah, Perth's having some technical difficulties, it seems. Oh, where did our... Oh.
Sorry, mate, I had to take that.
Yeah, but if someone becomes sick, and there's a way that the system can get them into some so-called treatment facility, all kinds of doors open up. They don't open up to the individual patient. They don't open up to the family of the individual patient, but doors open up and things start happening. We got this $1 million treatments that you need. Now, you don't have millions of dollars, but we've got this company over here that will pay for it. Then we've got this other company over here that's going to do this. And there's all this money and all this shit that just flies around. And meanwhile, the injured party and the family of the injured party, they're left feeling like, well, you know, we're so down and out, and it's such a mediocre situation, and we're grabbing at straws. So we best not look a gift horse in the mouth. We better just be thankful that there's all these things happening on our behalf. But it's a scam.
Put it this way.
It's a fucking scam.
I appreciate the fact, not appreciate, but to me, I had the best dad ever in the sense that he always said to me, don't let anything or anyone ever get the fucking better of you. If you believe in something, even if you stand alone, he goes, you stand alone. He goes, you stick by what you believe. I mean, none of us were rich in the sense of that we had money to pick private doctors or this, that, and the other when my parents were sick, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I inherited my father's stubbornness. I not inherited necessarily, but I pretty much stuck to those words that he always said to me, which got me through a lot of shitty fucking situations in my life. And I thought, I don't care because we all fucking shit, eat, sleep, bleed, right? I have a right to be fucking heard. Didn't matter where I went. If I had to fucking yell at medical staff, I fucking went off. And I didn't look at what I was saying or how I was saying it. Is anybody word sensitive? I don't give a flying fuck. Get the fuck over it. If you're doing something wrong, I'm going to fucking tell your ass you're doing something wrong, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And this is what I was doing with both my mum and dad. I wasn't going to take no fucking shit. I'm looking at it. Hey, I'm not a medical person, but I can see when something is fucking wrong. It's wrong, you know? And this is what people do. People, like you say, they think, well, something's being offered. We need to be quiet and just fucking take it. Well, no, don't fucking take it.
Yeah. Yeah, we shouldn't feel like we're in a position where we've got to tolerate this substandard shit. And that's the problem, is that we continuously take it.
That's right. We're taking it every fucking which way. I mean, we're getting butt fucked every fucking day.
And it's not doing anything for us. It is in no way, shape, or form helping us to be complacent in the continued crimes against humanity that occur all of the time. I mean, and they're only doing to us what we are allowing them to do to us.
That's right. Can you imagine, mate, like in all of these old age homes where people stick their parents into? I mean, I know that to a certain degree, society has been pushed where both parties have to fucking work and all the rest of it. But that again comes back to what people have allowed, right?
Yeah.
The friggin', you know, splitting of both parties have to work so that, you know, government can get a hold of your kids and the kids stay in fucking childcare longer. We know all of that. You know what I mean? So, but I personally think that people need to hang on. They need to hang on to their fucking elderly because they're the ones that have got the noodle. They're the ones that can teach you so fucking much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're the ones that at the end of the day, when you put them in a home, Lord knows what the fuck is being done to those people. I mean, my sister worked for a short period of time in a home, and I had one of the actual, who was an absolute fucking angel, one of the carers of the two that came in to help me with my parents. They were the only two that I could literally say were God sent, right?
Yes.
She pretty much turned around and was telling me an experience when she was learning how she'd gone into a room where there was elderly and they can't move far, but the jug of water is put on that little fucking cabinet next to the bed, which the patient can't fucking reach. So how the fuck is that person supposed to get to the fucking water to have a drink? I mean, we've had stories here where somebody has gone in and obviously been morally and ethically fucking sane enough to literally report it, where an elderly person has had their false teeth in a glass that's been put on that same little fucking cabinet, right? And there's mold in the fucking glass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is people that don't get fucking moved that are riddled with back sores. That it's fucking horrific what some of these people go through, and nobody says jack shit.
Because it's easier to sell mommy's house and daddy's house.
That's right.
And use the money that you make from it to pay off your debts because you were irresponsible and fucked up your money when you put mom and dad in a home. It's easier to do this because when you put mommy and daddy in a home, A, out of sight, out of mind, you don't have to feel guilty, but B, you can kill them quicker. And then when shit goes exactly like you know it will, you could say, well, you know, I'm not guilty. You know, it was that home. They didn't treat mom and dad right. That's who we blame. We'll blame the medical. We'll blame the nursing home. We'll blame the insurance. We'll blame everything. And at the end of the day, it was our fault. We did it to ourselves. We do it to the people that we love. We
absolutely.
You know, I mean, and that's the unfortunate side of it. If you don't have the stomach for something and you don't have the backbone to do what's right, and you allow someone else to take the reins and they fuck up, you're still directly responsible.
That's right.
And we instead we think that if all of a sudden somebody else does something in our stead, that all of a sudden excuses our accountability. It's a way of passing off the blame for our own inadequacies on the people around us.
Yeah.
And until we begin to hold ourselves accountable, we're not going to be able to change our minds to the point where we won't tolerate this type of behavior. You know, there's some countries now here in America. I mean, we treat our old people like fucking shit. I mean, we literally treat them like shit. Sometimes we treat them worse than shit. At least shit, they make burgers out of it in some places. Here,
that's right.
Our old people get old and we're like, oh man, mom is fucking old, fat, and crazy. Can we not get that senile bitch into a home and sell her house off and go to the casino with the profits already? Why do we got to keep putting up with this crazy bitch? Let's just dope her up and then maybe she'll go to sleep and not wake up tomorrow.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, the loved one dies, and what's the first thing we do? We have a wake. And we talk about, oh, we loved them so much. You know, they were such great, wonderful people. Oh, we're so sad. We've suffered such a great loss. Meanwhile, we've done most of this to ourselves.
That's right. And like you said, not just to ourselves. We've done it. People do it to the people that brought them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, me and my mom fight like cats and fucking dogs. I mean, all the fucking time. There's times where, I tell you, man, that bitch is getting on my last fucking nerve. However, I'm not going to throw her in her fucking home and shoot her up with dope until she doesn't wake up. I'm not going to let somebody else do that for me.
I've got to tell you something funny here. When my ma used to give me the shits, because like you say, you have disagreements, okay?
Yeah.
Some people you forgive and some people you just fucking don't. Well, your parents or my parents, yeah, they could pretty much get away with anything where I was concerned. Yeah. Prior to her getting sick and over the years, every time somebody gave her the shits and she would get angry, I would get a phone call and I'd pick up and I'd say hello. And, of course, I recognise the voice. It's my mother, and she's fucking going off at me, and she's calling me all these names in fucking Slav, right?
Yeah.
And I'm, like, on the phone thinking, what the fuck? I haven't been anywhere near her. What the fuck is she talking about? And I make the effort to explain that I haven't been there for a while. You know, she won't take that. She hangs up the fucking phone on me. okay?
Yeah.
So then I'm sitting there and I'm totally fucking stressed over this, all right? Totally fucking stressed. And then a few days would go by and somebody else would get her in a shit. Well, the phone would ring. I would pick it up. Hello. Of course, I recognize the voice. And away she fucking goes again. And when she's done, she fucking hangs up. Well, it got to a point where I thought, she needs to vent. She knows that she can ring me and fucking vent. So I just shouldn't take any fucking notice. I should just let her rant her fucking head off, hang up on me, because I know that 2, 3 minutes later, she's going to call me. She's going to laugh. She's going to say that she's sorry and she'll be fine.
Yeah.
And these are the things that I used to go through with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you do, but you forgive them because you know that they're fucking angry and that they've got nobody to take it out on. I mean, sure, she could have yelled at Dad, but that wouldn't have gotten her really fucking too far because he would have just walked out in the backyard and said to her, I don't want to know about it,
Yeah.
right? So who's she going to vent to? She's going to vent to the one that hasn't gotten her in the shit, and which was always me.
I've always resented the fact that your other family members, it's like they're never in the picture.
That's right.
When things get really bad, then they all of a sudden pop up like they've been there the whole time, like they've always cared, and like they're going to do anything for you, and that that it's such a hard thing that they are going through. And I'm thinking to myself, you motherfuckers haven't been here in the past. You're not going to be here in the future. I mean, people are so superficial, fake.
In my case, it was the opposite. My family was there while my parents were okay. When my parents weren't okay,
they ran.
And I said, we all need to get together. There is enough of us in a fortnight to pretty much take responsibility for one day.
You and your sister that took care of everything?
Pardon?
Was it you and your sister and everybody else vacated the scene?
Oh, the whole lot of them pretty much fucking up in arms. They left. Nobody wanted to even donate one day out of 14 because there's 14 of us all together, right? Yeah. I mean, when you look at nieces and nephews, they're all adults, okay? Yeah. Oh, no, I've got to work. Oh, no, I don't have a lift. Oh, no.
If you would have asked me last week, I could have scheduled it, but, you didn't get a hold of me in time, so I can't do nothing.
Exactly. So it was totally fucking opposite for me. Everybody disappeared when my parents really, really fucking needed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they wondered. Then they got pissed off. No, they found out, which I didn't even know. Okay. I mean, my parents' will was pretty much they leave shit to each other. Okay. I didn't realize that another will was made after Mum passed away, where Dad had made me the executor of the will, okay? I didn't know this. We were going through some paperwork or whatever, and I come across this, and to me, I don't give a flying fuck. Because when my parents are gone, fuck the house, fuck every brick that was used to make the fucking house, fuck all the pots and pans, fuck everything, okay? So to me, I never gave a shit, all right? But my sisters discovered that will. Well, all hell fucking broke loose. Where were we when this was being done? And I'm like, well, I wasn't there either. So what the fuck are you calling me about?
Yeah.
Oh, so why aren't we on it? I don't fucking know. I just said I didn't know it was done. I wasn't present. I never gave anybody any information or told them how to fill it out. So they knew how to be there before. They knew how to be there at the very end, right? But nobody was there in the fucking middle. And then they wondered why I was making after my father passed away when I said, this is how he's going to get buried, right? Or this is how it's going to be done. Oh, who made you the boss? Well, I made me the fucking boss because I can see what the fuck the rest of yous are fucking doing. You don't like it. Fuck off. Because this is how it's going to get done. I mean, They didn't even want if oh listen, I really don't like airing my shit on fucking
Yeah.
YouTube. But you know what I mean? Like you saying that all of a sudden they're all there. Well, it was just in reverse for my folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit that, hey, Donna's fallen apart. Donna's holding in by her fucking fingernails here. Donna's about to have a fucking breakdown because she's just lost both fucking parents and she don't even have fucking time to
Hey,
mourn anybody.
Perth, I've got to interrupt you. I'm not
Yep.
meaning to be rude, but I've got to end this live stream. I will be back very shortly. Yeah, I've got to check out a weather report.
No dramas, mate.
But hey, I'll be back on here in not even probably 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
All right, I'll talk to you here just very shortly.